Most guys out there think they need a heavy centerfire Magnum to drop thick-skinned game, and it is costing them the ultimate ballistic experience. Listen, if you still believe pneumatic rifles are just for stacking Diabolo pellets into paper targets or clearing rats out of the barn, you are living in the past. We are talking about modern air-powered artillery pushing solid cast lead slugs the size of your thumb, generating enough foot-pounds of energy to drop a 2,000-pound American bison in its tracks. But getting a 72 caliber or a 20mm rig to shoot straight is not just about stuffing more air behind the lead. It takes extreme dump valve engineering, massive plenums, and high tensile steel to handle 4,500 PSI without blowing apart in your hands. Stop ignoring the big bore revolution. We are tearing down the top 5 most powerful, largest caliber pre-charged pneumatics ever built by man. Moving on to number 5, we are looking at the high-pressure Titans, specifically the Air Force Tex-Rex and the Artisan Piledriver. To be fair, the Air Force Tex-Rex chambered in 510 caliber is a pure mechanical beast. Instead of a standard heavy steel component that opens slow, this rig utilizes a next-generation titanium valving system. That ultra-light titanium valve opens faster and wider under extreme pressure, dumping an immense volume of 4,500 PSI air into the breech with virtually zero mechanical delay, spitting a solid 620 grain slug at blistering velocities. This platform generates an earth-shattering 1,170 foot-pounds of energy. When the trigger breaks, the recoil is sharp and heavy, punching your shoulder exactly like a Magnum center-fire rifle. The muzzle report has a serious bark for a pneumatic, making a massive multi-chambered moderator an absolute necessity if you want to keep your hearing intact. It delivers devastating mechanical penetration, which also means it exhausts a tremendous percentage of its stored high-pressure air with every single pull of the trigger. You will be tethered to your carbon fiber tank constantly because your extreme spread opens up entirely after just a couple shots. Throwing the Artisan Piledriver into the mix gives you another brutal option, built on a genuine bullpup chassis and utilizing a unique gas piston hammer spring design. The 50 caliber variant effortlessly pushes out over 800 foot-pounds. Leaving the entry level behind, these rigs prove that you do not need the absolute widest bore diameter to generate massive kinetic transfer. Stepping up the game to number 4, we are looking at the handcrafted Behemoth from Extreme Big Bore Air Rifles. The EBbar 72 caliber is what happens when master machinists completely abandon mass assembly lines. This is a boutique piece of pneumatic artillery. If you have actually taken a massive feral hog with a 72 caliber airgun, let me know right now if you prefer solid monolithic lead or wide hollow points. Instead of relying on off-the-shelf components, this rig utilizes a meticulously hand-tuned, versatile high-flow valve system. Dropping a 530 grain slug into the breech yields a highly efficient 700 foot-pounds of energy. When you scale up to a massive 760 grain projectile, that custom valve pushes it at 824 feet per second, generating an astonishing 995 foot-pounds of kinetic transfer. The first stage of the trigger is remarkably smooth, the wall is solid, and the break is an absolute surprise. Last season, I watched a guy drop a heavily armored boar at 80 yards with one of these custom rigs. The sheer momentum carried that massive chunk of lead completely through both thick shoulders. Look, it is built like an absolute tank, which also means it weighs as much as one, So good luck stalking through dense brush all day with this beast dragging you down. You are trading mobility for raw, unyielding mechanical penetration. At this premium price tag, you are paying for precision, low-volume machining. Entering the elite tier at number 3 is the Artisan-crafted XP Airguns Ranger. Here is the reality. If you want a classic American Magnum pneumatic that completely ignores modern tactical aluminum chassis trends, the 72 caliber Ranger is your ultimate slug slayer. This rig utilizes a remarkably long 36-inch barrel combined with a hand-fitted high-flow valve system designed specifically for immense air dumping. That extended barrel length perfectly capitalizes on adiabatic expansion. Given the massive volume of cold expanding air, plenty of dwell time to accelerate the projectile. Spitting a solid 735 grain cast lead slug, the custom valve propels the payload with enough sustained force to comfortably shatter the 1,000 foot-pounds of energy barrier. The bolt action is meticulously machined and cycles like a heavy bank vault door. When you touch off a round, all you hear is the massive hammer strike, followed by a brutal impact downrange. Out on the plains last winter, a guy at my camp dropped a mature whitetail at 120 yards with this exact traditional setup. You get a literal lifetime of durability with this hand-machined steel masterpiece. But if you do not know how to maintain traditional hot salt bath bluing, you will ruin the finish on this system in 5 minutes, flat out in the humid woods. The entry fee for this level of boutique craftsmanship also means you are paying a massive premium just to avoid mass-produced parts. This next one nearly took number 1. Listen, when we talk about the undisputed king of commercially available mass production power, the AEA Zeus, chambered in 72 caliber, stands alone. Built specifically to push heavy lead, this production powerhouse throws a massive 850 grain cast slug out of a 30-inch precision barrel. It relies on a robust side lever bolt action mechanism to physically seat those massive projectiles into the breech. Thanks to a high-capacity 600 cubic centimeter air reservoir operating at a maximum fill pressure of 4,500 psi, this platform perfectly demonstrates adiabatic expansion principles. The expanding gas front exerts sustained physical force against the base of the slug for the entire length of the barrel, pushing projectiles at 870 feet per second to generate 1,500 foot-pounds of energy. Means the air consumption is absolutely ridiculous, leaving you with maybe 2 usable shots before your extreme spread forces you back to your electronic compressor. You are practically chained to your scuba tanks with this beast. The side lever cycles like a heavy industrial machine, and the trigger breaks with a crisp snap. The recoil impulse is sharp and heavy, jarring your shoulder hard enough that you need specialized airgun-rated optics just to survive the bi-directional vibrations. Last month down in Texas, a buddy of mine used this exact setup to fold a massive feral hog at 80 yards, completely penetrating thick armor and bone like it was paper. Arriving at the undisputed number 1 spot, we are completely leaving the realm of small arms and stepping into man-portable light artillery with custom 20mm platforms and the upcoming AEA Zeus .95 caliber. Let's be real for a second. Pushing a monolithic lead slug the size of a standard shotgun hull out of a pneumatic rifle is an absolute logistical nightmare. You are not casually hiking through the deer woods with a .95 caliber rig. It requires a dedicated, proprietary 7,000 pounds per square inch digital compressor and tethering system just to provide the extreme density of air required to forcefully move a multi-thousand grain payload. Generating 4,000 foot-pounds of energy means the standard thermodynamic ceiling is completely shattered. Custom boutique engineers are even running 20-millimeter builds on compressed helium to bypass the speed of sound, launching a 2006 grain projectile at 1,148 feet per second. That equates to an earth-shattering 5,800 foot-pounds of kinetic transfer. Actuating the massive dump valve on one of these requires heavy titanium components, capable of surviving extreme impact forces without catastrophic failure. The trigger pull is heavy and deliberate, acting more like a mechanical sear release on a howitzer than a match-grade bench rest trigger. When that valve dumps, the muzzle report is a deafening blast that will literally rattle your teeth, accompanied by a brutal, shoulder-bruising backward impulse. I watched a master machinist test a helium-augmented 20-millimeter prototype last spring, down at the 100-yard berm, and the sheer momentum of the slug completely uprooted a welded steel target stand right out of the dirt. That is the absolute limit of modern pneumatic power. We have left the backyard plinkers behind and entered an era where compressed air can anchor the heaviest game on the planet. Whether you are running a 50 caliber bullpup or a custom 20-millimeter shoulder cannon, respect the engineering, manage your air supply, and know your ballistic limits. Train hard, stay safe, and I will see you downrange.